welcome to the Hit the Road Music Podcast. My name is Adrian Adipagentne, and I'm the founder of Hit the Road Music Studio, a mobile record studio on four wheels, traveling the world, supporting artists worldwide with a music video to share their culture and their heritage, helping them with a good record that is inexpensive to go on international stages. So we're helping them on the long term to finance their life with doing what they love. Also, I'm a musician since 21 years. I love music. I'm all the time listening music, discovering new bands, making music videos, and now I'm a music producer since 2017. I became mentor at ProMix Academy, where you can get 40 plus hours of mixing courses from our journey that will help us to continue with this journey. Additionally, we are official partner with Produce Like a Pro, the #1 channel for music producers, and really good vibes and incredible knowledge. This podcast is all about the music industry and the lovely people behind it. The intention behind the podcast is that more and more people started to jump into music, especially during the pandemic, realizing the album that they wanted to do their whole life, starting to become mixing engineers, starting labels, realizing ideas that they had for a long time. So in this podcast, we will interview people from the music industry. Is it A&R, record label owner, independent label owner, mixing engineer, mastering engineers, music producers, session musicians? You say it. Everybody who is involved in the music scene and in the music industry, to explain how much love and hard work they put into it. Like this, I hope I can give a good foundation for people how the music industry works, more or less, because, let's be honest, no one really knows. And these industry professionals will give you advices, tips, the best advices they received in their life, the worst advices they received, and hopefully you will learn from them. I will learn a lot as well. Because I think the most important thing in a so fast changing industry is to stay curious, stay open-minded, and that you want to learn. That's the idea behind the podcast. And it's my first time. I'm very excited for it. And I rely on your feedback. Do you like it? Don't you like it? What you don't like? So if you have any suggestions, any feedback, please send me an email. All the information will be in the description below. Links to the people that we interview, to their projects, and my email address for the feedback especially. Today we will kick it off with the founder and main operator of Desert Records from Albuquerque, New Mexico. His name is Brad Frye, and for me it felt like a blessing that we could start with this interview because there is so much inside view. He's going with the change of the music industry and he jumped right into it. So enjoy the podcast, and as I said, please send me some feedback so we can course correct and make it better for you, make it a better experience for you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the podcast, and thank you so much, Brad, for your time.
Now,
Mhm.
running a record label in the modern age is very different than I think what most people have preconceived notion or a perception of what a record label does now. I mean, obviously some of the daily duties are the same, but in terms of the agreements with the bands and how we work with the bands and stuff like that, it is a lot different now with technology and the fact that music sadly has been devalued and that it is it is technically free, and a band and no one can sadly survive in this world for doing anything for free. We are at a place in modern society on Earth for humans that there is some sort of currency involved. There has to be money involved, and that's really hard, with something that is not considered to be worth much anymore. And adding COVID on top of that with no live shows, which is really the big income for bands, and the merch table. So if they're selling, T-shirts and CDs and vinyl records, even maybe, or whatever, with those two factors gone, it makes things very difficult. And so a lot of that is me. I play in a band. This is my band here, Red Mesa.
Nice.
Which is like heavy psychedelic desert rock out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And, I understand where bands are coming from. So I'll hop into it. I'll hop right into it.
At first, tell us, who are you and what are you doing?
Hi, my name is Brad Frye. I am the owner-operator of Desert Records in Albuquerque, New Mexico, established in 2018. I am the sole owner and operator of the label. I do not have any employees and I do not have a partner. I do everything myself, mostly out of my home. That being said, I still have a day job, and I have a wife and I have a young child. So I'm a busy man, and very passionate about music. Basically kind of start my day with having my schedule and trying to knock out all the tasks that I need to do. So Desert Records is a small independent record label that focuses on heavy music genres, heavy rock and roll music genres, mostly off subgenres of heavy metal and heavy rock. So desert rock, doom metal, heavy psychedelic, stoner metal, stoner rock. I'm not a big fan of that genre name. Heavy blues, dark Americana, and experimental. Yeah, heavy experimental music.
Amazing. This is really amazing. Yeah, I listen to the bands that are on your label, and the music is fantastic. It's amazing what you're doing, especially when you're doing it on your own and you still have the day job. We've been all there. Me as a producer, my first 2 years. From the office, I jumped into small rehearsal rooms, recorded bands for free, often just to learn how mic techniques work and so on, and to support them. So,
wow,
yeah,
man. Unreal, man. Yeah,
unreal.
so you understand. I mean, I'm kind of every free second that I have, I'm working on the label. Basically that's how that works. The best place to support the label and the artists is on Bandcamp. Desert Records. Type in Desert Records on Bandcamp. For those of you who don't know about Bandcamp, Bandcamp is the absolute fairest platform to support musicians and labels directly, because they give the most amount of revenue straight back to the bands and labels. Any streaming services now is fraction of a penny, and there is no money to be made if you are not a major label artist doing millions and millions and millions of streams. I think a lot of people don't, a lot of fans, aren't quite sure of how that works. But even if you did 1 million streams in a year, you're not even making $3,000 for the year. So it's extremely hard to have any viable income off streaming. So Bandcamp allows you to download the digital albums directly, buy CDs, vinyl, merch, cassette tapes, T-shirts, hats, patches, stickers, etc., directly from bands and labels, and that is probably the only way that they are surviving during COVID.
Wow, that's amazing. So, as you heard, as he said, go to Bandcamp, Desert Records. There are a lot of fantastic musicians under this label. You can check them out and support the one. Support the one that you like. Support the 2 bands that you like. Get the T-shirt, because this is how bands make it through those times. Yeah, especially with vinyls, limited editions. If you are a vinyl fan, I saw the covers are fantastic. I don't know who is doing the covers for the bands, but man, I would just hang them into my flat if I would have a flat. I'm living in a camper.
Yeah.
But
here's a couple amazing ones. Sorry for the glare. Let me try this. Ooh, that's a little tricky. This is Women of Doom. Yeah, I'm getting some glare. Sorry about that.
Looking good.
This is Women of Doom. And this is an artist based out of Germany, Laura, Subterranean. this is a compilation for heavy musicians in doom metal, focusing on the women artists that have been enhancing our lives through heavy music for the years. So there's one really cool one. Red Mesa Heavy Psychedelic Desert. This is the artist Joshua Mathis. So yeah, I commission artists to do these really cool album covers, and it just makes it really a phenomenal piece of art. Not only the music, but also the album artwork front and back. So
amazing, wonderful, man. Really good. So I'm curious, what was your motivation to start Desert Records?
Yeah, so the motivation was for me to self-release the second studio album by my band Red Mesa in 2018, called The Devil in the Desert. And I put that out on my own label after I realized that I feel like it would be better if I had control and I learned the music business better for my band, and kind of going forward, I had so many questions because the music industry is so weird now. Weird being that it's kind of like a wild west again. There's like anyone can put anything out on the internet, and it's easy to get lost. And how do you kind of wedge through that where anyone can put a piece of music up on the internet and sell it, which is great, and I love that. But it's also hard for bands that are actually hardworking bands and touring bands, and they're competing with people who are putting music out from their homes, and they're not trying to do the traditional band thing. I felt like there needed to be a push for traditional bands to get more help and get more people listening to their music.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So my motivation with that was, well, I know that vinyl has been making a comeback, and I was excited to put my that album, The Devil in the Desert, on vinyl, which has been sold out. I didn't press a lot, but that has been sold out. Otherwise, I'd show you a picture. But oh no, I have one here. Let me do this. Can I flip it? If not, maybe you can see that up there. Can you see that, Addy?
Oh yeah, I can. Wow, the artwork is amazing.
The artwork's was done by Joe Volan in Buffalo, New York. So anyways, that was my motivation: learn about music business, learn more about getting better at using the internet to help sell music and stay relevant on there. And it's quite a lot of work, but I'm growing slowly as a label. I've got 12 bands on the label now, and I think I'm adding another 12 or 14 for 2021.
Wow.
So I'm about to double in 2021. Yep.
Amazing.
And that'll be going into my third year.
Man, this is amazing. I mean, the internet is the new place to go, especially for bands, and it's really cool that you help those traditional bands to start somewhere. Yeah, I had to go also on Instagram and go through this jungle. At first I started to go there, start to post. I stopped after a while because I thought it's too crazy. And I didn't know where to go, where to start, what it brings me, and so on. So it's a great thing that you're doing with the label, helping them to find their place in this wide west, as you said it.
Yeah. And another part of the inspiration, Addy, is, and I think you can understand this. I mean, I get that sense from the positivity that you post online, and you I think you have you have that ability to sort of to reflect and ruminate on life, and kind of ask yourself, why am I here? What should I be doing? How should I be doing it? And what's important? And at the end of the day, if you're doing one thing and you don't really like it, and you're spending all your time thinking about this thing, then maybe you should be figuring out how to do that thing. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And so for me, a lot of that motivation was like I'm spending a lot of time thinking about music and how to get it out there and how to bring that into my life more, into other people's lives more. Well, I should stop thinking about it and I should start doing it.
That's the difference also. If you're just thinking about it and not doing it, nothing will happen. So amazing step you took, man. Very inspiring. I hope this can inspire some of the listener, because I think now is also a good time to sit down and learn all of this stuff and to start to realize your projects, because the majority of this process, especially with your band, is now online and it will not change. Yeah, this is now something that nobody from us can avoid. We should start now, get comfortable with it, and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to ask you, what do you offer to the bands? Like, is it like a traditional label, independent label? Do you sign them? Do you give advances for recordings, or are you distributing the CDs?
So I think traditionally with record labels, they offered advances for recording in studios, and a lot of other things, because even so many major record labels have gotten a lot smaller and lost a lot of revenue. There's not that much happening anymore, especially down in the heavy underground or underground music in general, where Desert Records is. I sign bands. I do not own their music. I will never own their masters. I simply license the music or lease the music, if you will, for 5 years, put it out, digital and physical distribution around the world as much as possible. And then I just do 50-50 deals, meaning I split all of the net profits 50-50 with the bands, on the expectation that they are going to help promote and work just as hard as I am on their behalf. As far as I know, that's about the fairest deal in the world for a musician, other than me being a nonprofit. But I'm not a nonprofit because, I do need to try to at least keep the business alive. And so I also offer CD and vinyl physical distribution in North America, UK, and Europe, if that's something that the band and I agree upon doing. And that can be very exciting for some bands. I also help a lot with kind of like band management. A lot of bands are good at getting together and writing songs, but they're not very good at doing everything else on the internet. Those bands that are better at promoting and doing social media and building up fan bases on the internet obviously do a lot better and get bigger faster, if you will. And bigger being a term that is, we've all been seduced by the lore of Rockstar or whatever, and that's pretty much dead at this point. It's a labor of love out there for bands and musicians, and you want it to look easy to the public, but man, there is an incredible amount of work going in that a band and a label is required to do these days, where normally there would have been a major team of people helping bands and labels getting the music out there. In this case, it's kind of just me and another band kind of going as hard as we can. And most people would give up very quickly because I can't tell you how much work that is. And then you multiply that by X amount of bands, it just gets busier and busier. So again, I also help with kind of setting up touring routes. I know a lot of venues in the United States, and I also have a lot of friends and bandmates and bands on the label that do too, and we all kind of try to help each other get shows booked at venues and supporting those other bands. It's very DIY, it's almost like we've gone back to like old school punk rock in all of the genres of music.
Wow, this is fascinating because this is a lot of work what you're doing, and I think this sounds like the first fair deal for musicians to me. What you are offering, and man, your work have to be valued. It's incredible that you take care of the licensing, but don't take the ownership of the masters. So it's trust based also.
Yeah,
It's amazing. You're building a really great community with this.
that's my hope. I mean, I know it's hard for musicians, and I think that to try to give them a good home base is important, and to help build a community, and honestly, like, Desert Records fans are incredible, um, and the internet gives you the ability to talk with them, and of course, I could spend 24 hours a day on a computer or on my phone, and I don't have that time. The bands don't have that time, and then we try to do what we can. Um, and I think that's just it, that makes it tricky. But we have a lot of great fans that support almost everything that I put out, and I really appreciate them so much. And the bands work really hard, and I see what they're doing, and they see what I'm doing, and it's very transparent. Um, and I think in some ways that people really like that.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely, man. I got another question to go one more time into the task, what you're doing. Like, if you can define your role in the music industry, and what are the things that you take care of every day on a daily basis? How does a normal day of Brad Frye looks like?
Yeah, so try not to be boring because it's a lot of kind of like organizational stuff.
And it's
Um,
important. I think that's important also to know what's really behind it. Not that it's
yeah,
boring or whatever, just really what you're doing.
I mean, I'm excited by it, and I don't, you know what I mean. It's like, so
Hmm.
number one, I mean, if you take what a record label does, which is scout bands, one, sign bands, two, do agreements with the bands, three, release their music and organize every single thing around the release, four, do the social media, five, do all of my customer service for sales myself, do all of the sales myself, do inventory, do ordering, do accounting, do kind of like band management because I got to talk with the bands a lot. Um, and and distribution, talk with my distribution partners in North America and UK and Europe, and figure all of the game plans out with them. And repeat, band after band after band. I do I do the work of around 8 to 10 people on a normal record label, from what I can understand, from what a record label would do.
Wow. Wow, that's insane. I hope, I don't know, are you looking for volunteers, somebody who can help you with this, or yeah, can assist you with the tasks?
Yes, I mean, I can't really pay anybody yet. I'm in 2 years in, and you kind of know how it is running a new business. It's kind of building things up and making a
Oh yeah.
lot of mistakes and spending too much money on that or not enough on that. Some you don't know how well a record's gonna do. No one does. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is an amazing record, and only a couple people bought it, or you're surprised that some album was more popular than the other. So there's so many hidden variables. It's not. I'm not like a utility company where it's like everybody's gonna buy energy from me or something. Um, it's just like there's so much unknown. And then bands break up, or or something like COVID hits, and then you're like, holy shit, what do we do now? How do we stay viable? So yes, I would love to have interns, especially because things that I'm bad at I am not a graphics artist guy, and in this day and age, you really have to be super strong on that. I would love help with social media. I would love to work with an accountant because I am bogged down with that. I mean, these are a few things throwing out there to the world that maybe something will come back from this podcast. If not, I understand, it's okay, you know. But yeah, I mean, I definitely need help with a lot of these, I guess, different departments in the label that I do all of.
Hey, I think this is my appeal to the listener here. When you have one of those skills, I think now is the best time where we can support each other, where everybody can support somebody. And I can speak also for myself. I do the same stuff that you are doing, plus even doing the recordings and more on top of this. So every help is more than appreciated. How can people contact you?
Okay, so people can contact me directly through email, which is desertrecordlabel@gmail.com. They can message me through Instagram. That's how you and I met.
Yeah.
Through Facebook or through my contact page.
That's amazing. Yeah, for me, Instagram at the moment is like the substitute for being in a club.
Yep, totally.
So I will put all the links also down in the description in the video, so people can find you for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. What is your best advice for people who want to start the same thing?
You have to be very passionate about it, and do not get in it for the money. Do not get in a record label for the money. Do it because you have a great passion for music and that you want to help other bands and musicians and artists to get their music heard by a wider audience. And I think anything you do, don't expect anything in life. Put your heart and soul into it and pursue it with passion, and you know, do it because you love it, and try to make it, you know, try to make it work, and find a balance in your life with that. But I would say that, and then probably some of the best advice that I've received while doing a record label is only put out music that you love. You have to love it. You know, you want to wholeheartedly be behind the music project and to put that out there in the world. So you have to be honest with yourself and with bands when they submit, and it's hard to say no to people, especially when it comes to somebody's art.
Amazing. I love this advice and can just underline it. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this.
The hardest advice or the worst advice I've received is, number one, you know, vinyl LPs have made a comeback, and I love them just as much as anyone else out there who likes vinyl. A very, very time-consuming and very expensive endeavor on behalf of a label or a band. And I think that now a lot of bands and artists feel that the way that they make it on a label is to get their album out on vinyl. And that's interesting because vinyl was not cool 10 years ago. There were still labels that were doing it because they really loved that audio format. Vinyl is very expensive, and it's a lot to ask a small independent record label, in this case Desert Records, as I'm one guy, to ask for me to you know, even to spend $3,000 to $5,000 on your band out of my own pocket, where the band is not willing to do that themselves. That's an interesting conversation to have. And I do it. I do generally I do about 4 vinyl LPs a year. Like one per quarter is about, gives me the time to order it. It's very expensive, very time consuming. Give myself a chance to do a big pre-order, sell it, try to at least recoup my expenses if possible. And that's not always the case, because you also don't know how well an album is going to sell on vinyl. And the best way to do it is to do it on a new release. And so the worst advice that I had is that when you run a record label, you have to put every band out on vinyl. And I started by doing that model and doing a 50-50 split, and realized quickly I was going to go out of business. So I can't do vinyl for everybody. That's always the first thing bands ask now, which is really amazing. So that's a tricky one.
That's a tricky one. Thanks for sharing. So one more question: with which entities from the music industry are you interacting on a daily basis?
Okay, so I would say a lot less traditional than before. Things are fed through the internet, mostly Instagram and Facebook, and I guess Twitter. I'm not too active on Twitter. But, within the music industry, it's hard to say if bands or even small record labels are a part of the old music industry. And I know that sounds really vague, but I'm not even sure what the music industry is anymore, because I don't feel that I'm necessarily a part of the old guard, if, as they say. I think of the music industry as this big business network that traditionally would get your music out on top 40 FM radio and MTV back in the 80s and 90s, and it's heard everywhere and stuff like that. It's just not the case anymore, because there's so much music being put out on the internet. The radio is dead in North America. It's all owned by Clear Channel, and all of the playlists in every town and city for like rock and roll or for hip hop or for country is all the same in every city. You can go to another city and you're like, that sounds just like Albuquerque radio. So there's no way for bands to get heard on the radio anymore. So you've got Pandora and you've got Spotify and all these streaming services. And so I guess, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like I'm part of an underground label and bands that are creating a new music industry, and that is basically direct sales to fans. It's really what it is. It's direct contact and direct sales to your fan base, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I think it's a good example for people to follow, the direct contact there, because more money stays also by the band and by the person who is also behind it and organizing it. What is pretty fair. I think this is what's needed, just a rather fair music industry, another direction. And always when there is a need for this, people create it, people like you. So, man, so inspiring.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool what you're doing. Okay. What are the next steps you're planning with your label for 2021?
Yeah. Number one, and I know this sounds funny, but I will be having a website built. And for me, I didn't feel a need for that for the first couple of years, because I was learning so many things, and learning to get social media better and to build a fan base for myself and the bands, and really utilizing Bandcamp as a sales tool, and my webpage. Really, I mean, I always tell everybody, go to Bandcamp, go to Desert Record Bandcamp. So website. I have brought on a very close friend of mine, Corey Lewis, who is in the band The Misery Men in Portland, Oregon, and he is going to be helping me in 2021. Him and I signed some bands together. He's going to help me manage some of those bands, and do some of the social media. So that's great, and I'm going to kind of work with him as like a contractor. He won't be an employee of the label, but I will compensate him somehow for him helping me and manage a lot of this stuff. So that's new. That's the first time I've worked with anybody, with Desert Records. I have secured physical distribution for CDs and uh, vinyl LPs in UK and Europe as of May of 2020, and I've got, I think, 6 titles over there now, which I'm very excited about. But a lot of people don't know that, so I'm throwing that out there, that I'm really working on getting more music to physical copies of stuff to all of you beautiful people in the UK and around Europe through Plastic Head. You can order directly from them. That's an big online music store, and they've got Desert Record stuff there. And some of those titles get out to the smaller record stores and online stores around UK and Europe. So I'm going to be working on really getting more happening in UK and Europe for the bands. And I also have, I will be releasing at least 2 bands a month, sometimes more, which is going to be a very crazy release schedule. And I have some really fantastic stuff coming out. And kind of stretching the boundaries, some stuff that's a lot heavier, like kind of some more sludgy metal stuff, and stuff that is going to be a lot more psychedelic and ambient too. So, but all within a heavy genre. So I'm really kind of building that out a lot right now, and trying to find more ways to stay viable during COVID, because I love being being at a merch table at rock shows here in Albuquerque, or if I'm on tour with my band or with another band, if I can get out on the road, and talking directly with fans and showing them what we have for vinyl and CDs and stuff like that. And of course that's all gone. So working on ways to get better at doing that for 2021.
Wow, exciting times coming. So amazing, because there is a big market for this music in Europe. So for all the Europeans listening here, great that they can order directly by Plastic Head. And the last thing, again, where can people follow you? And if you can share your top 3 bands, or the top bands for this year that you discovered, so we have something to listen to also.
Okay, great. Yeah. So Desert Records, Instagram, Desert Records, Facebook, Desert Records Bandcamp. Those are probably my 3 main places where you can find me right now. And I do have a big cartel shop under Desert Records, as well as where I do, I sell a few unique things. I partner with a lot of companies in the music industry that make guitar pedals.
Oh, nice.
For example, I just partnered with this really cool company called Fowl Sounds out of Denver, Colorado, and this is like a really amazing pedal that is a delay and a reverb pedal.
Oh, nice.
So, I partner with these guys, and we help cross promote for each other, and I get endorsements or discounts for my bands and artists so they can get gear a little cheaper. I also partner with Reverend Guitars. They make really phenomenal guitars. Black Harbor Sound for strings and picks. Black Arts Toneworks. I am currently doing a custom build pedal for the Women of Doom album. I gave all of the artists, the female artists, a free Women of Doom pedal, which is like a fuzz and distortion pedal combined in one. And I have a few more for sale for the general public, and that's on my big cartel. I think there's 7 left. So I do interesting stuff like that too, because it's really fun to match up like a pedal with an album,
Wow, that's amazing. I would buy them, man. I'm playing since 21 years, and a new pedal and a cool design is always good. Good to have. You can't have enough.
You can't, dude. I'm looking at my pedals on my floor right now, and I'm rearranging my pedal board and going, what am I going to do now? It's like you know, and I know you know this, Addy. Like the creation part of music never should be not exciting or stagnant, because holy shit, there is so many options for sounds now.
Super exciting. It was really, really good.
So cool.
Yeah.
So my top three bands. So for 2020, I had like 4 releases on vinyl, and another, I think, 5 or 6 albums that I put out on digital and CD. The Women of Doom album was such an amazing project, and it had artists from North America and Europe, and was an amazing amount of work, an amazing, phenomenal amount of people that I worked with, and I had everything done 100% by women, except for that myself and Jad Schickler from Blues Funeral, we co-released the record, but all the women made the music, all the women mastered the music, all the women pressed the vinyl, all the women did the reviews and a lot of the write-ups for it, did the artwork for it. It was such an incredible project to put together. You got to go check Women of Doom out. I mean, this is just phenomenal modern heavy music that's gonna, blow your mind. Number 2, of the Desert Volume 1 is a project that I created that is 7 albums, and I've only put out 1. I have volume 2 and 3 coming in 2021. And what this is like me being a big nerd. I came up with this idea that I love desert rock. Bands like Yawning Man and Caius and all of the bands kind of, spread out and branched off from that. It was a big part of me moving from the East Coast of the United States. I grew up in Maine, and on the coastline, lived in Seattle until I was 30. And then I moved to the desert when I was 30, and I've been here for 10 years now. And because of desert rock. And I wanted to be in a location to do that. So anyways, Legends of Desert Volume 1 has Pale Horse Pale Rider. That's a band from Denver, Colorado, and Lord Buffalo from Austin, Texas. And this is like the new soundtrack to the Wild West. It's like new, heavy music. The bands are geographically located in the greater American Southwest and American deserts. They have a sound that I'm looking for. They complement each other sonically on both sides of a split, which is really a challenge to do musically when you have 2 different bands that are completely unique and you want it to kind of make sense musically, but you need the uniqueness of each band to stick out. And on each volume following Volume 1 will be 2 more new bands, and mixed in with those will be some legendary desert rock bands too. So
Oh,
this is gonna be a project that's actually probably gonna go on for 4 years for me, because I'll probably do 2 releases a year, and this is just gonna be so fantastic. So you got to check out the Desert Volume 1.
oh yeah, I will, man, and I hope everybody will here. Now you made us a real good taste on this.
Yeah. I think another one that we should talk about would be Luminero. I know that you're a big fan of these guys.
Oh yeah.
Luminero is also known as the Boogeyman, is a band out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, that's also in the band on the label called The Horned God. And they sort of, changed their look and changed their sound for this vision that Dominic, the lead singer and guitarist, had. And it's kind of like dark, heavy blues with a story that is a personal story from Dominic's side, about someone he loved that he lost in his life, and it's actually a true crime story that is unsolved. And we put out the first EP in October, and it's 4 songs called Andiamo nel deserto, which means going to the desert in Italian. And it talks about, him going through that experience and the stages of grief, but through the eyes of a detective trying to understand what happened to this person. Wow, what a concept, man.
Wow.
And so it comes out on vinyl, 10-inch vinyl gatefold, and each EP, there'll be 3 of them, will have its own vinyl. And then all of the artwork, when you open up the gatefold, all makes one big piece of art.
Wow. This is amazing. And what a story behind it.
Yeah.
And I will check it out. I listened to a couple of tracks after we wrote with them, but yeah, I didn't know this. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and I can totally recommend this album. For me, the track, man, I forgot the name of the track because I'm working on 5-6 tracks per day, but I got the album here. Andiamo nel deserto. I think this was the track that blew me away.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
think that's the song, Nel Deserto, just Nel Deserto. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that track is amazing, man. Wow. Yeah, so we'll be putting out EP2 in 2021. So that's cool.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I'm very excited waiting for it. Man, Brad, thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to talk with you, not only over Instagram, and to learn more about what you are doing, how many tasks you are handling so good. And yeah, we wish you the best, only the best in the future. You're a cool dude, man. You're doing amazing work, and with your full heart. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Addy, man. I love you, buddy.
Love you, man.
Throwing this out there as a bucket list. I'd love to get out to see you sometime in Morocco or wherever you are post COVID. Maybe get out there with some bands and hang out, and do a little recording and hang out in person, man. That's bucket list stuff right there. So happy to have connected with you, and I'll be sharing your stuff too on
Oh,
Instagram. And
thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate you taking time for me, man. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
Man, you're the best. You're always invited. This is for everybody. If somebody wants to join our project also, just write me, and depending where we are at the moment, just come over. I mean, we are now planning to go to the desert again because I miss this place. The desert is really, really deep.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. We've been in summer this year, and there is this. It was 50 degrees, like Celsius, and you go to the desert to die and come back as a new person.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I can dig that. I can dig what you're saying, man. I hear you completely. So,
I
yeah.
will put it also on my bucket list to visit you because I got so many invitations to the States, and as soon as the COVID is over, the roads are free again.
Hey, you're welcome to come visit anytime in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Addy. We'd love to have you here. And you can meet some of the bands on the label, including Luminero,
Oh, fantastic.
and Red Mesa and bands like that. So Yeah, we'd love to. And thanks again. And thanks for everybody who tuned in to this. And, thank you for all the fans and support out there for Desert Records.
Wow. Amazing. Have a fantastic evening, my friend.
Cool. You too, buddy. Take care.
See ya. Bye.
Wow. We had a lot of fun with Brad, and thank you so much, brother. This is a lot you are doing, and one more time, if you like to volunteer, if you like to help him to build this label out, I mean, he's stocking up now with 12 artists per year. If you have any skills, you want to help Brad, please contact him. All the information are below in the description. Check out the music if you're into this music. It's really, really good. If you need a guitar pedal, you see, there's a lot of heart, a lot of energy, and a lot of good vibes in this label. Every support is more than appreciated. If you like this podcast, share it with your friends, share it on Facebook, Instagram. If you know anybody who start to have the desire to be a musician or to be involved in the music industry, here will be many, many, many amazing interviews that will give you inside views. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for your support. Take it easy, and see you soon for the next episode, next Monday. Stay tuned for more.